Hello everyone. Every particle video we built previously, like explosion, fireworks, constellations, etc., used random values, random speed, random direction, and random color. But this one, what you see on the screen, uses a single formula, that is Math.sin method, JavaScript method. That's it. One function looped across every pixel on the canvas produces a wave. Here you can see there are I created three waves layered on top of each other, each at a different speeds and amplitudes, produce a ocean waves. This is where animation meets mathematics, and once you see how a sine wave works on a canvas, you will understand how audio visualizers and equalizers displays, water effects in games and loading animations, everything etc. will work, because they are running on this exact formula underneath. So let's build this ocean. Welcome to Scratch Start, and today we are going to build a wave simulation. This is the initial output without any necessary JavaScript things. Let's go directly to the JavaScript part and skip all the setup parts. So I have created the variables using identifiers, the canvas, and resizing the canvas, and that means the responsiveness. And I have also created the global variables. I have explained this before in previous videos too, so I don't need to explain it again. Here I have used wave colors using that's RGBA colors, because I'm not using individual colors. I'm using RGBA colors to give different shades. And now we have to create the crucial part. This is all the sections we need to create. So initially we have to create the wave. So there are three waves and it is updating continuously. So I'm creating a class called wave, and inside that I'm using constructor to create one constructor. The constructor uses parameters amplitude, wavelength, speed, and color. These are the parameters or the things that a wave will represent, or the wave will possess. So we are going to create all these things. So I'm using this keyword. I'm creating amplitude using the default amplitude value, and it has wavelength. For wavelength I'm using the default wavelength value, and we will have speed. For speed we're using speed value, and we have phase too. Phase means the rotation of the wave, that is it. So for that we are using the math random method. Math random star math pi value star 2, that is literally 2 pi r. Waves, once the wave finish, that will literally form a circle. That it is actually not a circle, but when you join the points it will form a circle. So next we have to create the waves. So for that I'm using a function called create waves. So initial value, as the initially we are assigning length of the waves array is 0, and then we have to create 3 simultaneous waves, right? So I'm using waves dot push, and inside that we have to create new wave, and it will have certain values too. So these waves should be written 3 times. So I will just replicate it. So the values will be only the values will change here. So 25, this is the amplitude. And next we will have the wavelength of 0.018, and next the speed is 0.018, and we will have the color as we will take it from the wave colors array. Initially take the 0, and that's all. The same way we have to fill the colors and the parameter values for the next wave. In 40, 0.014, 0.024, then with the colors too, wave colors with index 1, and next values for the third I'm giving 60, 0.010, and then 0.032, and the wave colors 2, second color, third color, so index is 2. So now the colors are created. Now we have to randomize the wave. That means we have to create a random wave. That is one of the main objective too. So for that I am creating a function called randomize waves. Here I am selecting each wave, waves dot, for each I am writing a function with a parameter wave and index. So inside that we have to calculate the amplitude, wavelength, speed, phase and color. So wave dot amplitude, amplitude of the wave is 20 plus math random multiplied by 60, at random multiplied by 60, and then the wave will have a wavelength, wavelength is 0.08008. It is added with math random multiplied by 0.02, and then the wave will have a speed, wave speed is calculated by 0.01, again 01 plus math random multiplied with 0.04. Then we will have the phase value. Wave phase is just math random, again math random dot math pi multiplied by 2, and then the wave color should be decided. Wave color is calculated using the same index value, because for the first wave we are using the index color as 0th index value color, so the corresponding index value is assigned to the corresponding wave. So wave colors is decided using wave colors index, that's all, index. Now we have to change some values too. I'm selecting the amplitude text value, change its text content using math round off the values, because amplitude it will go as many digits as possible, but we have to fixate it, so we are going to round the value. Waves with index 1, amplitude, this is the value that is going to round off, and then it will also should have the speed too, speed dot text content, and it should also be in decimals, so we have to fixate it too. So waves with index 1 wave 1's speed using two fixed method. I am giving using decimal only 2 digit after the decimal point 2. So that's all. We fixated these things too. Now we have to reset the waves. Function to reset all the waves. Function reset waves. To reset waves, we have to create the waves first, and then we have to change the text contents of the corresponding waves. That's all. Amplitude text dot text content is equal to waves 1's amplitude. Then we have to change the speed to speed text dot text content is that's the first wave's speed, that is the same value we written here. Then we will have the button events too. We will write the function here. After that, button functionality will be written below. Here, see, the button functionalities will be written here. So these both are different things. This now for random button and reset button. For random button, we have to activate or call the function randomize waves, and then we have to change the text content. Status text content should be changed to randomized. And then we have the reset button. For reset button, we have to call the reset waves function. Then we have to change the text content. Status text content, it should change to reset. That's all. Now we have to start the initial setup too. So initially we have to create the waves, and then it should be layered as I have said in the intro. The waves are layered, so layer counts text content should be changed. Layer count text content is equal to number of waves created, that is waves arrays length. Waves arrays length. And then we have to change the amplitude and speed. These are the same here, what we have written here. So that's all. Now the initial setup is also finished. Now the important things, the core brain of the whole function, that is we have to draw the loop, draw the waves, and this is for drawing one wave, and this function is used to draw all the waves. Then we have to update the waves and clearing the frame, update UI, animation loop, the same things you've seen in the previous video, but I have left it empty for a reason, because it is somewhat slightly different from the previous videos, that's why. So draw the wave, we create a draw wave function. It is in a canvas, so where I'm starting the path to draw the whole waves, and then it is just a sine wave, so I am just using a point joining method. So ctx move to x coordinate 0 and y coordinates is canvas height, that is canvas height divided by 2, that is the center point. And then I'm using for loops with the initial x coordinate value as 0 and the condition is x should be less than or equal to canvas's width, and the another thing is x should be added with 4 each time. X should be added 4 each time. Now we can write the whole function. This is for the x coordinate. So with accordance to x coordinate, the y coordinate should change. So I am calculating y using canvas's height divided by 2 added with Math.sin method. The parameters we are going to calculate use are x dot x coordinate and wavelength added with waves phase and all these values are multiplied with waves amplitude. So that's all. This is a single formula. You don't have to memorize it, just keep it in mind. And then from this point we have to draw the line towards the original x and y axis, line to x axis and y axis. That's all. Now we have to change the colors now. So ctx stroke style is equal to color of the wave color. Then ctx will have the line width to line width as 3, and then the ctx shadow color is equal to color of the wave, and then ctx will have a shadow blur is equal to 18, and then we can draw the straw line ctx stroke. Now we have to draw all the waves. This is for drawing a single wave. So now we have to draw all the waves. For that I am using for each method and creating a function with parameter wave. Inside that I am calling the function draw wave to draw each wave. Those parameter is wave. So that's all. Now we have to update each wave. To update each wave, again selecting the waves. For each of the wave we should update. So function with parameter wave, and inside that we have to add the waves phase and waves speed, and use that wave phase value to update the wave. So wave phase is added with the wave speed, and then we have to clear the frame. So for that we have to clear the rectangle, that means clear rectangle. So ctx clear rect, giving the values 0, 0, original canvas width and canvas's height. So that's all. Now we have to use the update UI. Now in the update UI we have to change the values, that's all. Layer count, change the text content using length of the waves array, and then change the amplitude text, change the text content, and these are numbers, so I'm using math round wave with index 1 and use that waves amplitude, and then we have the speed too. Speed text, change the text content, first wave is speed and 2 fixed, first wave is speed and 2 fixed to 2 places, and then we have to initiate the animation loop. So we have to sequentiate the animation now using all the functions we have written. And before that, if is passed is true, if the animation is passed, it should be returned, nothing should happen, or else we can include the functions. The order is clear the frame first and then update the wave, and then we have to draw the wave, waves, and then we have to update the UI, and then using animation request animation frame, we have to update the animation ID too. Request animation frame, use the function animate, and then for the play button, this is just a simple the same thing we have written in the previous sessions. If is passed is true, if it is passed, we have to return, or else we have to execute a function, or else is passed is false, and then we have to change that status text content should be running, and then we have to call the animate function. So now for the pause button, we have to cancel the animation. So here this passed is true, and then we have to change the status text content, as paused, then use the cancel animation frame using the animation ID. That's all. Now we have to start the animation. So for that, we have to initially change the status text content to running, status is text content to running, and then we have to animate the function, and call the animate function to animate. That's all. This function will be called, and all the functions will function in a sequential order to create a perfect sequential uninterrupted wave. So that is what will happen. So let's go to the browser and see the actual output. This is the regular canvas, and reload, the waves will appear. Reload, see the waves are appearing. There are 3 waves layered to each other. You can see there are 3 layers: the amplitude, the speed, and the status is running. When I pause, the status changed, everything changed. When I do the reset, it is in reset state. I click randomize waves, see it is randomized, and only when I click play, it will play. See play, it is changed running, and the waves are also generating continuously. So this is how we do the thing. We can use this to create multiple animations like oceanic animations and other types of animation. For example, I have imagined a smoke smoke coming from a candle or any other source. See, those exactly move like this too. So we can use this animation idea to execute those kinds of animations too. So that is what I intended to do here. So yeah, that is it for today. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and leave a comment to what you think about this video and what are other things you want me to do. And I will meet you guys in the next session with a different animation. Thank you. Have a